Hey, DIY Dad here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're not going to do a project. Instead, we're going to talk about a really cool game from a company called Giiker that my kids have become absolutely, horribly obsessed with in the best of ways, because this is a STEM thing, it's super cool. I'm going to take you through it. It's one of the most interesting games I've seen in a long time, so stick around. Here we go. All right, shamelessly resting on the hood of the DeLorean is the game that we're going to be talking about today because, man, it looks cool, stainless. Anyway, this is called the Super Decoder, and it's from Giiker, and it's a STEM, math, code-breaking logic teaching game that is very simple and very advanced all at the same time. So inside the box, you get the code breaker itself, or the Super Decoder, rather, and a little manual. I'm going to show you how this thing works. All right, so the decoder is not shipped with batteries. It takes two AA's. There's a little panel that pops off the back, and they just drop right in there. And once you've put them in, you are invited to explore this thing. So the control surfaces on this are incredibly simple. There's a mode selector on the left, which really chooses how complex or difficult the game is. There's kind of a, let's call it mode 1 and mode 2, kind of simple and hard, but it's two different ways that this is going to give you feedback. There's then a jog dial on the bottom, and there's this really cool selection on the top, which functions as the power switch. So there's two modes for this, or there's two main game modes, but then there's also two play modes for 1 and 2 player. To switch it to 1 player, you're going to actually rotate this top piece up like that, and that's going to put it into 1 player mode. All right, gameplay on this is very straightforward. So there's no manual really needed for this. You have your two different modes, like I said, the selector, or kind of a more obscure, kind of more difficult mode. I'd call this easy and hard based on my kids' interaction with it. But in this top mode, where it gives you the indication under each square, you have your 4 different colors. It starts by giving you a pattern that is not correct. And then you have your 4 potential colors at the bottom and an indication of what level you're on. So this is level 1. Now this game is really, really good at starting very simple, and then as you progress in the game, it gets harder. So the feedback that it gives you becomes less, and the colors that it gives you as options become more, until you have all 7 of the colors as potential choices for this pattern of 4. So looking at it initially then, if I'm in level 1, I've got green, blue, kind of yellow, and red. I can see underneath by the indication that green is in the proper spot, blue is in the proper spot, yellow is the proper color, meaning it's part of the combination, but it's in the wrong spot. That's why it's got this white bar. Same thing with red. Now, on the first level, there's really only one option, right? Just by looking at it, you know that this particular color combination is going to be green, blue, red, yellow. This is essentially tutorial mode showing you how to solve the game. To enter your code, you're going to use this jog dial. So this turns, and it presses like a button. So I'm going to set each option, so green, and then press it like a button to select it. I'll go check my blue, and then I know, since these are in the right pattern but not in the right order, that it's going to be red and yellow. Now, to submit this code to the decoder to see if I'm correct, I press and hold this orange button. You get this happy little fanfare. It tells me, yep, my color is correct. And then we move on to level 2. Now again, level 2 is giving me the same amount of feedback. So I have just my 4 options. It chooses my pattern for me, and it's going to tell me that, my positioning is wrong. So obviously this one's going to be yellow, blue, orange, and then kind of turquoise, right? So slightly 4 different colors, same basic complexity. Now as we advance, when we get to around level 4 or 5, it's going to give me this little level up thing where we get arrows that come across, does a little tune to let me know now I'm on level 2 of complexity, or complexity kind of hardness 2. At that point, it's going to stop giving me all of this feedback and make it harder for me. And again, as I progress through the game, the game continues to get harder. It adapts as I learn, which is super cool for how they designed this, again, with very little feedback. I've got some video of my kids playing that I'll pop in here, because again, as I mentioned, they are obsessed. So that's the easy mode, let's say. That's where you typically are going to start. Now, if you're ready for more of a challenge, you can flip this over into this secondary mode. What that's going to do is reset you to level 1, so it keeps your progress in the 2 different modes, right? So I'm level 2 on that mode, level 1 on this one. And it's giving me the same amount of feedback, but it's different. So now I get this little foregrid. And what this is telling me is that the 4 colors I have chosen are correct. 2 of them are in the right spot, 2 of them are not, but it doesn't tell me which ones, which means I have to experiment to figure out what this pattern actually might be, right? So if I did this and I submit it, let's see how lucky I get. See, so now of the 2 that I submitted, right, the 2 different flows I did, in both times I had 2 in the correct spot and 2 not. So I then have to go through and through process of elimination and logic, see if I can figure out this pattern. And even on level 1, that can be a little bit tricky. Now, if you get all the way to the bottom, so you've tried all of your potential combinations, it gives you 6 attempts. If you're not correct, what it's going to do is it's going to clear the board, keep your top pattern, and let you keep going. The disadvantage there is you lose the ability to see what you've tried before, but you keep running until you figure out the code. So you kind of look at this last one, and if you're smart about it, you kind of look at this last pattern, and then you can retranscribe that up to the top and figure it out as you go. Super cool, very intuitive game. All right, so that's 1-player mode. Now, if you want an additional challenge, or if you have kids or parents even, I've used this from my team at work, and they're obsessed with it too. You can switch this from mode 1 or 1-player mode by turning this over here, and now you're in 2-player mode. Now in 2-player mode, it's a challenge. So it's going to ask you to set as the player 1 as the challenger. You set the combination that you want it to be. So you go through and you position this and tell it what pattern you want to use. You set your 4 colors, and then you tell it how many seconds they're going to have. So I'll kind of do this real quick. So I set my color combination that only I know. So right, you're going to do this kind of secretively when no one else can see. And then I press this button here, kind of give it a long press. And now I'm down here and I set how many seconds they're going to have. So 40 seconds. So now it's giving them the potential colors. So they start with all 7 potential colors and no additional feedback. Now, depending on what mode you're in here, it's going to give them the level of answer or level of response based on what they chose. So if they just pick 4 colors, if I'm in this mode, it's going to give that little 4-box grid. If I'm in the other mode, it'll do the underlining thing. But they will have 40 seconds to complete, and the clock is going to start when they start making their first selection. So I go here. I don't actually remember what I set. So submit that. All right, so I got the 4 colors right, but they're in the wrong order, and I have 27 seconds to figure out what the proper order would be. So that makes for an interesting challenge, even as adults, or kids challenging each other, right? You can start off with a decent amount of time for them to work through, and then shorten it as time goes on. Make for kind of an interesting drinking game. You didn't hear that from me, though. Other feedback on this game, it's extremely well built. My kids have dropped this intentionally and unintentionally multiple times. It shows absolutely 0 damage. We've had no issues with like battery doors flying off or anything like that. It just keeps going, and it is an obsession. My kids are on week 2 with the first one that we had. This is actually the second one that we got because they don't like sharing it. So we now have 2 of these. So my daughter will have one and my son will have one. These only are available in 1 color. I'll have a link down in the description to them. It's a really, really cool game. It'd be a fantastic travel game to have in the car because there's just, like, there's no pieces to lose. There's nothing to break off of this. There's nothing to need to carry with or special accessories necessary to make it work. It travels really, really well. There are options in the user manual to mute the beeps or to change the volume level. There's a way that you kind of do that. But all in all, just kind of start to finish. Really, really cool game. A lot of fun. I play it, my wife plays it, my kids are obsessed with it. Yeah, really cool. Highly recommend it. So this then being the end of a DIY dad video, I of course owe you a dad joke, even for non-conventional DIY dad videos. I should mention, I'm going to be doing more of this kind of game reviews, project and tech review stuff. If you're interested in that, please like and subscribe to the channel. There'll be more content like this coming up. So, on to the dad joke. Why do you never see crabs volunteering their time? Comes right down to it, they're just shellfish.
I usually like it when I get 3 different combinations, completely different, that are all incorrect, because then I can use that knowledge to get a completely correct one 100%.